Welcome Lund loyalists to John Lund Unleashed. Those watching on YouTube, on the John Lund Unleashed and Bay Area Sports Collective channels. Viewers on X, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook, and Lundos listening to the podcast on Apple and Spotify. John Lund Unleashed, brought to you by Reapel Sports Medicine. Got pain? Check out our revolutionary stem cell treatments. And guys, if low T is bringing you down, Reapel Sports Medicine can put you back in the game. Now all juiced up and ready to go, here's John.
I am all juiced up and ready to go. Finish them. Finish them. Sorry. That's my Sunday truck voice. Sunday, finish them. Mortal Kombat. There you go. Jimmy throwing the flaming ball at Dylan Brooks, who he admittedly hates. Thank you so much for joining us. It is episode 129. As I say, finish them. That is the Warriors against the Rockets. By the way, early start. So we'll be on for postgame tonight early. Remember, we got postgame, so put those alerts on so you know at John Lund Unleashed and the Bay Area Sports Collective. When we're jumping back on, but I got to finish them tonight. We'll get into that conversation. Tyrese Halliburton, not versus Giannis, but his dad, which is really weird. And the TNT guys got into that, so we got to talk about that. And anytime we talk about the Bucs season ending, it seems like Giannis the Warriors, Giannis the Warriors, Giannis the Warriors. I don't think this time. We'll explain that discussion. The Warriors, by the way, it says Warriors odd. To screw up. Warriors odds. They're 12-1. Only OKC, Boston, and Cleveland have better odds. So Vegas is starting to believe. We'll get into that conversation. One last look at the draft. Actually, the last couple of drafts, because that's how a team gets better or worse. We'll assess the 49ers in that regard. Bork. Yeah, nice spelling. I guess must have been going fast today. Bork next. That is supposed to say Brock next. I'm having a rough day already. The insiders, you know, my belief in insiders, the NFL Network said something but said nothing in the art of saying nothing but saying something. So we'll get into that conversation. Logan Webb's first inning is bringing him down. Amazing catch in Toronto that we'll show you. We'll discuss more about the Giants and the Fathers as they got close, but then Randy Rodriguez, for the first time this year, gives up runs, including a home run to Xander Bogaerts, who I forgot was on the Padres because he's not very good, and they give him a monster contract. So although I'm not ready to get nervous or scared about Willy Adames, I will say that Xander Bogaerts is example one. They gave him a lot of money, and he just hasn't been very good, and I hope that's not the case with Adames, who hit a home run, who to Oppo Taco last night, which is ironic because San Diego, wonderful tacos. He went Oppo Taco, but again, another error at short with just a real easy throw. And you're sitting to yourself going, you don't have, that was no good. And Lamont Wade Jr., as I was cursing my TV, why is he up right now? Why is he up? And then he slices that ball down the left field line. Gets him back in it, but then the Giants, rare that Randy Rodriguez would struggle. Good morning. I will get to roll call in just a second, but if you're new around here, thank you. Whether you're watching on X at John Lund Radio, welcome. You could migrate over, and it would be great if you migrated over to the channel at John Lund Unleashed. That way you can hang out in the chat room and see what everybody's saying about the things that we discuss, or just random things. Like I haven't looked at the chat room today, but it could be about tacos. Just because I brought them up, breakfast tacos are outstanding. Very underrated. Everybody talks about breakfast burritos, but you could do like a crispy taco with the egg and the bacon and the cheese in there. Outstanding. I've had those many, many times. Lots of good restaurants do those. But anyway, I digress. We look at the chalkboard. We talk about a number of different things. Random is at the bottom. We do that throughout the show as well, and then we jump back on the road. But you're watching either on X or Instagram at John Lund Radio. Please subscribe, get those alerts on, and give us a like at John Lund or John Lund Unleashed on YouTube and the Bay Area Sports Collective. Now, you may be asking yourself, what's that? It's my show, Tom Tolbert, Polymax Particles, of course, Polymac, formerly of KBR as well. Creative Tony, they do an awesome show right after mine, normally at about 11 o'clock Pacific time. And then we've added Rod Brooks, and we're going to be adding more as well. So stay tuned. And if you subscribe, then you'll be in the know at the Bay Area Sports Collective, as well as John Lund Unleashed on YouTube. Episode 129, as I said, finish him, Haliburton, Giannis to the Warriors is always talked about. Warriors odds are pretty high. One last draft look, the last couple of years, Brock next, Webb, great catch, random, and of course, much, much more. So we're going to get to all of those things today. Good morning. Nice list today, by the way. Skills, good morning to you. Dom is here today. AJ Cruz, awesome to see you, man. Enrique, Mark, Tacky. Hello, Tacky. Good to see you, man. Chris is here. Francis Berry is here. Scott Saunders. All right, Scott. Good to see you. Francis. JJ, hello, Rada. Naomi is here. Miss Catalina is here. It's great to see you this morning. Taylor, good morning to you. Joy, it is a joy, as I always say. Kyle, good morning. 49ers faithful, hello. Who else? Aaron is here this morning. Good to see you. Baba Booey, Baba Booey. Who else? Sorry if I miss you this morning. We're going quick. Hi, Scott. Good morning to you. Christian, good morning. Any questions, comments, thoughts? You can always put them in the chat room. Supers will guarantee you to get on the page, whatever you have to say. So great to see you. So good morning to everybody. James, good morning to you. If I did not get to you this morning, Pine, Jake, if I did not get to you this morning, I will at some point, I am sure. But it is great to see everybody, and I'm glad everybody is in the room. And again, you don't have to be in the room. It would be great if you would be, but if however you're watching, much appreciated. All right, let's get to the game tonight, and it's an early one Pacific time, 4:30, which means I'll probably be on for Warriors post game. I don't know, 7:30, 8 o'clock. So get those alerts on, and we'll have a fun time. We always do. When we do a closeout, there's some whiskey behind me up high, some special stuff that I only pull out for things like this. So might be shooting some whiskey tonight if the Warriors are so inclined to close this thing out. I'm always split on the Warriors because in one sense, I look at this team and I say, veteran guys know how to close out teams. Rockets are generally young. Could close out tonight, get a couple extra days. The Lakers and the Timberwolves go at it tonight. I'm not going to say I'm going to root for the Lakers, but extending that series and having the Warriors end this one, to me, is the entire key of their existence to how long they go in the playoffs. Get rest. And if you don't believe me, it's what Steve Kerr's been preaching the whole time. Not only getting guys rest, getting his guys rest, but also just how much they're able to rest to determine how far they're going to go in these playoffs. Early in this series, as you heard Steve constantly say before the series even started, when he was talking about Draymond Green and how much Draymond's got to play the 5, he's just going to get tired. And this is the same old broken record that I've told you, but there's a lot of size in the Western Conference. Whoever you play next is going to have size. It's just how it's going to be. Minnesota has size to beat you. The Lakers don't. They did with Anthony Davis, but they don't now. So Minnesota wins that series, which it looks like they're going to. Rudy Gobert is not the offensive talent, obviously, that Şengün is, but he gives them size, as does Naz Reid, guys like that. So that's going to be a tough series if and when they play the Timberwolves. It's just you don't want to give the Rockets any kind of life. Young team, give them confidence. They win tonight. Now it's 3-2, and a lot of the pressure is on you because anything can happen in a Game 7, and Game 7 is in their place. So as much as and excited as you are, they're up 3-1. The series is over. Look at the analytics. Look at the odds. I get it. But if you give the Rockets a chance to breathe and they win tonight, it's 3-2. And they've played well at Golden State. They've played well at Chase Center. So if they can somehow pull that off, all of a sudden you're going back to a Game 7. So 3-1 is a commanding lead. The numbers say what they say. The analytics say what they say. It's very difficult to come back, blah, blah, blah. We know what Cleveland did and teabags and all that kind of stuff. But I just assume just say, you know what, it's a young team. Don't give them an emotional lift. Come out there, win this game. And if I'm Steve Kerr, well, I won't treat it like a Game 7 and play Steph Curry 45 minutes. I might play my guys a couple extra minutes just because I want to win this game. I want to get rest. It's going to be the determining factor in how far they go in the playoffs. If they can't get rest, they won't go far. This is how it is. So tonight's a really important game to me. It's not a must win. I'll call it critical, very important, whatever the case may be, because you just don't want to let Houston back in the series. And at 3-2, they are back in the series. They do have confidence. They are one game away from going to your place and then having Game 7 at their place, and you just never know in those kind of situations. So hopefully Jimmy is healthy. He got banged around. He played a lot of minutes. He played 39-59, almost 40 minutes. I'll give it 40 minutes coming off that injury, and he got banged around a little bit. So hopefully Jimmy got a lot of therapy, feels good on the flight to Houston. Steph rarely plays 2 poor games in a row, and so I expect Steph Curry to step up. Can guys like Podziemski play the way that he played? Buddy Hield will stay in the starting lineup because that's the way Steve Kerr is. You're not going to just have him play a couple of good games and then say, okay, we're back to Moody. He has stepped up in this series. So there's lots of guys for the Warriors who I feel confident. To me, the whole game comes down to the guy it always comes down to for Houston. What's Jalen Green going to be like? Because he scored single digits in 3 of the 4 games, and the only game that they did win, he scored 38. Now, he doesn't have to score 38 for Houston to be effective, but he's their leading scorer. And as we talked about yesterday, he was off the floor for the final 5 minutes of the Game 4 loss for Houston. I don't get it. I don't know what's going on with him. The only thing I can surmise is he's a young player playing in his first playoff series and isn't consistent and doesn't understand the level that you have to play at. So that's good for the Warriors. Hopefully he doesn't wake up tonight because I think he's their X factor. The irony in this series is that the better Şengün has played from a scoring perspective, they haven't won those games. Game 1, he scored 26. They lose. Game 4, he scores 31. They lose. It's about getting others involved. And I think if I'm Houston, he's kind of their access piece in the middle. And the great players let others get going, or they try to get others going around them, and then they know they can get theirs at any point. And that's Şengün for the Rockets. He's not going to have any problem scoring. Draymond can be Draymond and do all these kind of things and puff his chest out when he defends Şengün at the end of Game 4, as he did. But reality is Şengün can get his anytime. It's about, for the Rockets, getting Fred VanVleet going like he did last game. Do I expect him to hit 8 threes? I do not. But it's about Jalen Green. And just in the beginning of the game, if I'm the Warriors, it's okay. I mean, I don't love it that Şengün gets, 8 or 10 in the first quarter, but I just can't let Jalen Green get going. So my entire game plan, especially early on in this game, is don't give any confidence to Jalen Green. Just blanket him. I don't care who it is. You got to bring GP2 off the bench early, whatever the case may be. If he hits an early shot, I'm calling a timeout and going, guys, we can't let that dude get going. He's the entire key because Şengün's going to score. VanVleet, again, he's not going to play like he did, but he has a little bit of confidence. He had 1 3-pointer going into Game 4, and then he hit 8, and he almost hit that one down. You had to hold your breath at the end. He almost tied the game. So, he's going to be playing with a lot of confidence. The Rockets, it's going to be about getting Jalen Green going. And then on the other side of it is just mucking the game up. That's what the Rockets want to do. They want to play a physical brand. They want it to get ugly. They want Draymond Green to get out of control. They want, they want to bang Jimmy Butler around. And that's been the case kind of in Houston. They've let a little bit more go in that building. So that's just kind of what's going to happen. So they've got to be ready for it. Plus, they're playing for their lives. They're going to be desperate. Dylan Brooks is going to do something stupid. There's going to be physicality. I don't think there's any doubt about it. They're going to play the Rockets in a desperate way. They've got a head coach that got the Celtics back in the day to the NBA Finals a few years ago against the Warriors. So he's going to kind of get that mindset onto his team. He's a really good head coach. He wants them to play physical. So that's just kind of how it's going to be. So that's the deal for tonight for the Rockets and the Warriors. That's how I see it. But they got to finish them tonight. I think it's a really, really important game. People are saying I'm blurry. Am I blurry? Let me check. Hang on one second. If I'm blurry, let me just check one thing. I have a hardline internet connection, so it cannot be that. Let me just look at one thing while we're sitting here. Make sure that we are good. I can change one adjustment, so if I am blurry, I can do it. Is that everybody? Screen frozen. You're not moving. Oh, that's wonderful. Hang on a second. All right. We have a frozen screen, apparently. Let me see here. Hang on. Yep, I do have a frozen screen. Let's see here. You can hear me. You just have a frozen screen. Exactly. Is that right? Matrix mode. You're blurry and sometimes frozen. Okay. I probably look better that way, but that's not the best. All right. Gotcha. Let's see how this is going. Trying to fix some adjustments here. Okay. Let's hope that plays itself out. I made a couple of adjustments. Hopefully you let me know. I do not have Xfinity. I do not have Xfinity. That is not my internet, but usually it's good. And I do have a hard line in the studio, so it shouldn't be a problem. So I adjusted a couple of things. Hopefully that'll be a little bit better. Let me see here. I'm adjusting. Let me adjust a couple more things here. Sorry about this. Monday problems on a Wednesday. We shouldn't have these problems at all. Let's see how we're doing now. At some point, I may need to reconnect this whole thing. We shall see. I don't want to end the show and restart the show, but let's just see how things go. Let's give it a couple more minutes and see if that fixes things. If it does not, then we will see. AOL dial up. Says the audio is fine. AOL dial up, not blurry on mine, not frozen online. Let's hope that keeps going. Let's see. I just messed with it a little bit, so we should be a little bit better. So let's see if we're better now. Let me see here. I'm messing with it. Okay. Let's see if we're doing better. Oh, no, it's freezing again. Let's see here. Let me set it again. Just resetting something here. Let's see what we can do. Let me go into let's go into this real quick. Make sure I'm hard lined in. Sorry, I don't mean to do this. We'll have to cut this out later, but I do not want to have a blurry screen, as you well know. Make sure that we're good. Yeah, it looks like we're good. It says we're hard lined in. It says the hard line's working. Just check one more time. It says the hard line's working, so I'm going to assume that this is just going to be a temporary issue. So let's hope that it is. Okay, hopefully we're doing a little bit better on the whole thing. Like I said, let's see. Let me try this one more time. I just reset everything. So let's see how we're doing. Please stand by. I apologize for this. Just trying to see if we can get this working better. All right, let's see. Sorry about all this. Okay. All right. Froze again. My goodness. All right. Let's see. I'm going to reset this. You might lose me. I'm going to reset this. All right. Don't know if that is better, but when I do that, I lose all my videos. So I got to just reset one thing very quickly. Let's just do this. And we're going to do a little on-air producing here. Sorry, because I want to have these videos up. So I'm going to do a little bit of on-air producing here. Hopefully that whole thing reset the show and we can move along and not be frozen anymore. All right, one more video to upload and then we'll be fine. There's those guys. Okay, we should be good. All right, what are we looking like now? Are we better? Are we better? Are we better? Are we better? Let me reset one more thing and we should be good to go. Let's hope so. How are we looking? Are we looking better? Okay, there we go. A little better, a little better, a little better. All right, you let me know if things are freezing again, but we should be better than we were before. View your channel, because then I can play along with you and make sure that things are better. Okay, looks good. Looks as good as I could be. All right, let's get things going again. If it freezes, you just let me know, and I'll keep up to date on everybody. But I reset everything, and so we should be a little bit better on everything. All right, let's get going. Where are we again? Episode, I said 127. Geez, now everything just went all screwy. We're not in episode 127. Let me do one more thing because we're in episode 129. So there we are. Fix that. All right, we should be good to go. Let's see if I have all my other stuff. Yeah, everything else is good to go. All right, we should be good. This should be good. Let me check on everybody one more time. Are we better? Stop touching stuff. Looks good. All right, let's continue this and let's see how things are going. All right, as we are on the chalkboard, we got into finish them. We talked about how important rest is for the Warriors. That is huge. The adjustments, Rockets are just going to play that much harder, going to be that much more physical. Expect to keep the lineup the same for the Warriors. And the bottom line is they're going to probably come out with a bunch of energy. You've seen this a million times, just like I have. They're going to come out with a bunch of energy in this whole thing. Got to withstand that early energy. Draymond has got to keep his head because one of the things that's going to happen is they're going to try to be as physical as they have the entire series. You know how Ime Udoka plays this thing. They're going to be very physical. They're going to try to get other guys going. And Jalen Green, I think, is the entire key to the game and the health of Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler was banged up. He played through it. It's always the next time, you did that. You went through adrenaline. They did the shots. How are you going to feel? You're going to travel. All that stuff. How's that all going to work? So I think that's going to be a big key. So that's tonight's game. Now, as far as Giannis to the Warriors, this happens every offseason. And to me, Jimmy Butler's the perfect fit. It took me a while to come around to it, but look what Jimmy has done. Jimmy's signed for 2 years. Giannis makes a boatload of money. So in order to bring in Giannis, and I doubt anybody's going to talk about this offseason, even if let's say they lose this 3-1 lead to Houston and everybody freaks out. Jimmy's still a damn good fit. Steph Curry signed, Draymond Green signed. They're going to trade Kuminga. By the way, the name that is going to come up, and I can't believe Miles Turner's going to come up. Miles Turner's still like 27 years old, and he's a stretch big. So, Turner, guys like that, those are the names that are going to come up. They're going to trade Kuminga. I don't know what Indiana thinks of Kuminga, but they're going to trade, and they're going to get it big in the offseason. But Giannis really, Giannis is awesome. But what you'd have to do to get Giannis is you're going to have to trade Butler. You're going to have to trade, there's a number of things you're going to have to do to equal that number. And if I'm Milwaukee, it's not that I don't like Jimmy Butler. It's just I'm going to go into kind of a rebuild mode. Maybe not like a full rebuild mode, but Jimmy's 35. Am I going to build around Jimmy? Not if I'm Milwaukee. Milwaukee's going to want what a lot of teams want, which is a bunch of picks and some young players. And, we sit there, Kuminga. If the Warriors don't like Kuminga, do you think that he's going to headline a big trade like that? He's not. And he doesn't make enough money anyway. They could extend him and all that kind of stuff, and they can make the numbers work. But Kuminga, we all overvalue our own players. We do that all the time because we see them all the time, and we see their flaws. But a lot of times we look at them through our team's colored glasses. So in this case, blue and gold glasses. And Jonathan Kuminga is not going to go from the bench in the playoffs to headlining a Giannis trade. It just doesn't work like that. Now, maybe Milwaukee likes him a lot, but you're still going to have to put in a bigger headliner than that, a bunch of picks and all those kind of things. And so when the Warriors run is over here in a couple of years, they would have nothing to rebuild. And you know what? Maybe they don't care, but I don't see for the first time in a long time, last few off seasons, Giannis. I don't see it this time. I see Jimmy Butler as being a great fit. I think for the next couple of years, it's all going to be about this core. The only thing that's going to change is they're going to trade Kuminga in the offseason for a stretch big who can hopefully defend a little bit. That's kind of Miles Turner-ish. A couple other guys fit that role, but I could see that being a move. It's been talked about a long time ago. So that's just kind of the way that it goes. So we'll see on that. I brought up Giannis because every time they get knocked out of the playoffs or the Warriors get knocked out of the playoffs, then it's, okay, Giannis. And I just don't see it this time. Now, the thing that's interesting about Giannis last night, did you see he was into it to a couple of people. He was frustrated, but Tyrese Halliburton's dad is on the floor. And I'm sure he's frustrated because there was a poll, I don't know if you saw it, but it was done by The Athletic. And he, by a wide margin, was voted by his NBA peers as the most overrated player in the game. And so I'm sure he was pissed off about it, and he was using it for motivation, and he got the game-winning hoop last night that knocked the Bucks out of the playoffs and advanced the Pacers. And so his dad was probably, hyped up a little bit, and he was talking trash to one of the nicest guys in the league, and that's Giannis Antetokounmpo. And Giannis is very good to the meeting. He has great answers to questions. I'm going to play a couple of things for you. One is Barkley and the boys getting all into it. I don't know that I sent the Giannis thing to myself, and I'm going to have to probably add that here too, is one of the things as we continue to on-air produce here. But if you didn't see it, they're going to play a small clip of it. But essentially what happened was Giannis was walking off the court, and Tyrese Halliburton's dad is on the court, and he's yapping at Giannis, and then Giannis starts yapping back at him. And so these guys get into a fight, and this is what I love about inside the NBA. They can fight like brothers, but it's not preconceived like it is on ESPN. Hey, Kendrick, you take this side, and screaming, hey, you take this side. And, and you can just tell that it's fake. These guys just feel the way that they feel, and it's a great back and forth. It does they're all talking at the same time, so a little bit hard to follow. But the premise of it is, and they'll show a clip of it, but they're fighting first, is that Giannis and Tyrese Halliburton's dad get into it after the Bucks get eliminated in overtime, and Haliburton hit the game-winning shot. Here you go. They get into it. It gets kind of a little bit out of control. I love that show. The fact that they can have fun and then scream at each other, and it's never personal. I mean, it's just such a unique show. But let's go back to his dad. There's a couple of people who I think are right on point here as I'm looking at the chat. Aaron, I couldn't agree with you more. I don't often agree. Yeah, there you go. Shaq takes the L. Sorry, Shaq. Let me get to the other ones. Ty Dad, I agree with this part. He should be banned from a team. You're exactly right. LeVar backed off, and I think his sons finally went, dude, you're ruining us. Stop it. Jaws' dad does this. It doesn't really happen in other sports because some NFL dad is not running onto the field and confronting somebody because they're going to get knocked the hell out. Let's see. Where's the other one? I said dumbass dad. I agree with you 100% on that one. Shaq is wrong. I agree 100% with that one. He was chirping at him the whole game. Look, this was his dad taking it out on a great player. And Giannis is so classy. And I'll load this up because I have this in my video for today. Where Giannis afterwards, he's famous for this. The one guy who said, "Is this season a failure because they didn't get a championship?" And he explained that. And I think it was last year or the year before. It was an awesome answer. Some of these guys are just up there with their sunglasses and their hats and to show off their fashion and just get the hell out of there. That's fine, whatever. He's actually up there to give interesting, compelling, thoughtful answers. He does that. Steph does that. Certain guys do. Draymond does that. But Giannis after the game was like, yeah, he shouldn't have been in my face. And as far as the NBA is concerned, look, his dad's just another fan. I don't care if he's got a jersey that says Haliburton on the back of it. Like I said, I was at the Malice of the Palace. You can't have people just on the court. I don't know. Just because you have a Haliburton jersey on gives you the right to get in the face of an NBA player, a guy who just got his season got ended, one of the best players in the game. It's very disrespectful. The guy should be banned from arenas the rest of his life. He shouldn't be able to go to another NBA game. Sorry. You abused your privilege, whatever privilege that is, that your sperm was so great that it came out with Tyrese Halliburton. That's an embarrassment. Tyrese Halliburton, by the way, after the game said his dad was in the wrong as well. So it doesn't give you the right to even be on the court, Little League dad. Get off the court. That's not your place. It's your son. Your son accomplished that. Congratulations, like I said, on the Immaculate Conception. But the reality is that that's your son. And stop trying to steal the damn spotlight from him. He did it. He's the one who got called one of the most the most overrated player in the league, drove to the rim, won the game, had his team move on, proved to everybody, I think, that, look, I ain't overrated. Screw you, man. Look what I did in the playoffs. Because I don't care. I say this all the time. I don't care what you did against Denver on a Tuesday or Memphis on a Thursday in November, December, January, or February. I care what you do in the playoffs. So the kid just did it. And he jumped up on the table, and it was his moment. And then now we're talking about you. We're not even talking about the play. It's a hell of a play by Haliburton. And if I'm him, I'm in the press conference, and I'm asked about my dad, which he was, I'm pissed. I'm beyond pissed. Why is my dad taking this moment away from me? I'm the one who saw that I was voted most overrated. I'm the one who went to the rim. I'm the one who took Milwaukee out. And I'm the one who's going to show respect to Giannis, a guy who's won a championship and is one of the most respected players in the league. You're going to get in his face. Why? For some reason did he vote me most overrated? Maybe he did, but don't take it out on that dude. Like, that's Little League dads piss me off. There was a guy, and everybody hates this, but my son was in Little League. He was probably 10 or 11. And there was a guy that was standing right behind home plate, and he had a New York accent. No offense to New Yorkers, but he was screaming at each kid, get your elbow up. Hey, and I went up to him and I just said, look, after a couple of batters, he did it to my kid. And I walked up to him. I said, hey man, you want to do that to your kid? You go right ahead. I said, these kids have 50 things going through their head right now. You don't need to be yelling at them. And if you want to yell at other kids and other parents don't care, that's fine. Don't yell at my kid. Like, get out of here. He literally stood so there's obviously the batter's box, and then there's one side of parents and the other side of parents. He's standing right there yelling at each kid with the hands up. Hey! It's like, what are you doing? Like, I'm sorry that you didn't make it, and I'm sorry you had that bad knee, and I'm sorry that you just burned out in junior college, but don't live vicariously through my kid, or any kid for that matter. But, you're doing it at a professional level, and somebody mentioned Ja's dad. Same thing. Ja Morant's dad, LeVar Ball. He's just lucky as hell that these kids turned out the way that they did, because he sent his one kid to Australia, and it just lots of bad advice. His kids have turned out well, and I'm sure he's a good father to a certain extent, but just stay out of it, man. It's professional sports. They've gotten to this level. Don't embarrass your kid. Embrace them. Stand back and let them shine. Stand back and let the spotlight be on them. It's not your time, man. Your time is past. Sorry. I'm sure Tyrese Halliburton, maybe like LeVar Ball. LeVar Ball played at Washington State, and Tolbert played against him, or not. He didn't. Played against his team. He was like a scrub when Arizona was up 30 points. Like, stop it. Just because you didn't make it. Sorry, man. But don't try to make yourself relevant and getting in the face like a guy like Giannis. I'm sure the guy will apologize later. He probably had 18 too many beers. I get it, man, but that's not an excuse. We've all been there. Can't act like that. So, look, I love Shaq, love Charles, love that whole show. Love that Kenny Smith tried to be the voice of reason there, but because he's been on the floor before, like Shaq said, that doesn't give him right. And if I'm Indiana, I'm going to Tyrese Halliburton and I'm saying, tell your dad he's banned. Like, that's just it. You cannot act like that. You cannot get in the face of the guy like that. And the fact that, like I said, we're talking about this today instead of a great play by Tyrese Halliburton, who gets some measure of revenge on the league or Milwaukee or whatever he did by being called overrated like a week ago. I mean, it's a cool moment for the kid. So, and you just ruined it by being drunk and getting the face of one of the best players and most respected players in the league. It's an embarrassment. And if my dad did it, I'd be pissed. I mean, you love your dad, but that's ultimate little league dad shit. Stop it. Stop taking the spotlight away from me. Stop getting in the face of someone. That's going to carry with that kid the rest of his life. Like, oh yeah, your dad that one time in the playoffs. Yeesh. I get that point. I mean, that's a solid point. Yeah, I'm sure the NBA loves it, but I do think that if I'm Tyrese Halliburton, I would just love for that moment to be mine. I mean, that's my moment. I did it. I just laughed in the face of everybody who just called me overrated. I did it in the playoffs. I knocked a team out. Call me all overrated all you want. I don't care what happens in the regular season. Look what I just did in the playoffs. And there's my dad yapping with Giannis. Like, dude, really? Good call. Did the Little League coaching for 3 years. My boys, I had parents like that on every team. Yeah, it's so frustrating. I don't know if anything's worse than soccer. Just about everybody that has a kid has them play soccer at some point. And then, the parents, they sit back, kick it, run, kick it, get it, run. Like, stop it. Like, they know run. It's soccer. That's what you do. They know kick it. They're trying. Like, you just sit back and you're just like, what's wrong with these people? Like, it's a Saturday morning. Everybody's got their coffee. It's 9:00 in the morning. You might have a little bit of a hangover. It's like, will you stop yelling at Junior to kick it and run and get it? Like, that's all you know about soccer. Like, you don't even know anything about it. So stop. And you're just yelling at the top of your lungs. Get it! Hustle! Run! Kick it! Like, stop. Just stop. God, the guy, the New Yorker took it all, man. It was our first game, too. And it was like, you do the jamboree and you have fun and everything, and you go play a game, and this guy's standing right there yelling at kids to what to do. It's like, will you stop? They've got 50 things going through their mind right now. Knock it off. By the way, a great job, Pine and B. The coaches who do that stuff, you can't. I mean, you don't get anything out of it except for you're not getting paid or anything like that. And I mean, just the Little League parents. Yeah, I know little Jimmy, and he probably should be leading off and playing shortstop and pitching. It's like, will you stop it? Like, just stop it, all right? Anyway, there you go. Yeah, my New Jersey accent, it needs work. I'll 100%. You're 100% right on that one. Let's see here. What do we got? All right, we'll move on from that. I mean, Giannis, Haliburton, all those kind of things. We did get into finish them for the Warriors. As far as the odds are concerned, that's where I am right now. Giannis to Warriors, Haliburton, Giannis, finish them. We're at the Warriors odds 12-1. I guess that surprises me to a certain extent. We'll do one last draft look in a second. Oklahoma City, Boston, and Cleveland are the only teams ahead of the Warriors as far as odds are concerned. That surprised me this morning. By the way, one thing I want to play, I love Steven Adams, first of all. I love Steven Adams. I don't know if you saw this cut yesterday from Steven Adams. So he was asked directly, and I should have left the question in there, but I'm a dope and I didn't. He was asked directly about Draymond Green's antics. And remember, this is a guy that got kicked in the nuts by Draymond Green. So Steven Adams, he was with Oklahoma City for a long time. They had battles. He knows the playoffs. He's been there for a long time. He's with Memphis. So Steven Adams has been in the playoffs a lot. He gets it. He's a massive mountain of a man, by the way. He is a massive dude. So he's not really afraid of it. Everybody's getting into the physicality of these playoffs. Steven Adams played really, really well. But not only do I love the answer, it's just, again, he's a Kiwi and he's just a cool, laid-back dude. I'd love him on the Warriors next year. I'm not saying he would be the stretch big, but just a guy coming off the bench with this kind of physicality would be awesome. But here is Steven Adams asked about the physicality, but specifically about Draymond Green and the type of things he does. Here's what Steven Adams said about it.
This is a different level of competition from regular season, from any of that. So, look, people are just playing hard. People play really hard. Sometimes things happen. It's not ill intention. I think you're just trying to win.
Do you view all of what he's doing as inside the bounds, so to speak?
Well, yeah. That's what the refs are there for, mate. I mean, if it's anything outside of that, the refs will call it. So it's nothing to do with like, oh, what we think. You don't need to waste your time speculating any of that. We got enough to think about in the game. The referee's job is to make sure that they stay within the boundaries.
Bravo. That's the best answer I've ever heard about physicality in the playoffs. Everybody looks at this era of players as kind of soft and those kind of things. Steven Adams is not soft, and I love the fact that he's just like, look, I play the game. You get banged around. There's officials. They're supposed to call things. They're the ones who keep the game under control. I think in a couple of the games in this series, the game has been out of control. Then they have not done that. I think early in this will be interesting tonight to see how it's called. I think if I'm the NBA and I'm talking to tonight's officiating crew, this could get ugly because especially if Houston gets down and Dylan Brooks gets pissed off or something like that, I could see somebody pulling somebody down. I could certainly see a fight. I could certainly see something. Draymond Green has really got to be careful tonight because not only about getting potentially kicked out of a game, because this could come down to, remember, 3-1 series lead against Cleveland. He gets kicked out. He misses a game. He's just got to be really smart tonight because if I'm Houston, and they'll never say this publicly, they're going to get this as physical as they possibly can. Dylan Brooks is going to get nasty and ugly. They're going to try to get Draymond Green off of his game. That's one of the parts of the game plan. It's not the game plan, but part of the game plan is let's see if we can get Draymond off his game because last time he got a technical foul and then he got a flagrant foul, and they're going to try to get him out of this game because as much as he has struggled with Şengün defensively, he's going to be their best defender against him. That's just how it is. So if Draymond's not on the floor, then it's going to probably be Looney, somebody like that. They've got to be able to rebound in this game. Last time the Warriors had more second chance points, but part of the game plan for the for the Rockets, and as part of the game plan in the playoffs for any team that takes on the Warriors is get Draymond Green off his game. If we can get him out of the game, even better. Technical fouls, get him frustrated, whatever the case may be. They got him a technical foul early in the game, and whatever Draymond says, that's great, Draymond. I understand saying that from a public perception. He had to play more carefully. He had to play more under control. Now, I think that's good for Draymond. He says he's got to play a certain way. He says he can walk the line. That's fine. I'm simply saying that getting an early technical foul is not a good thing because I don't care who you are. You got to be careful. So that's part of the game plan tonight, especially with as desperate as Houston's going to play tonight. Part of the game plan is that. There's no doubt about it. But I love that answer. I don't know that I've ever heard a player say it like that, especially in this era of basketball where Steven Adams basically says, hey, there, mate, there's referees out there. And if things get out of control, that's their job to call it. Not my job to referee the game. Too many players in the game today. And this has been going on for years and years. So I'm not particularly calling anyone out like LeBron or Luka. But it's just, Draymond does it. I mean, constantly to the officials. This and this and this and this and this. I love how Steph does it. Look, if it's egregious, Steph goes to the official. And I think the official probably thinks to themselves, when Steph gets worked up, I probably missed it. When Steph doesn't come to me very often, I bet I missed it. When Draymond comes to you, it's like, oh my God, the boy who cried wolf constantly. Like you're not, that has no effect on the game when you're constantly going to the officials. LeBron is constantly. Luka is constantly. Draymond is constantly. It's like if you're going to me on every single play, how do I know when actually there's something that I may have missed and may have gotten wrong? Because you come to me every single time. Like it's like it's just a normal reaction. It's like a reflex. Hit on the knee, like up foul. Like yeah, you never foul. Okay, it's useless. But Steven Adams, I mean. He's just out there going, look, I'm going to play as physical as I possibly can, as hard as I possibly can. It's the playoffs. You got to understand that. And when something happens, then the officials, it's their job to try to, calm things down. So I'm not going to worry about it. It's a great answer. Plus, a guy's trying to bait Steven Adams into it. Obviously, he's looking for a quote. He's asking specifically. And you just heard the second question. He asked the first question pretty much similar to the second question of Draymond Green, and he was looking to get Steven Adams to say something like Draymond Green's a jackass, or he plays this way or plays that one. He's just like, look, everybody's playing hard, and he asked him again. He asked him more specifically on the second one, like, is there something that he's doing? And he's like, no, he's playing hard. It's the playoffs. That's how you're supposed to play. It gets ratcheted up, mate, and then it's the officials are there to officiate. That's what they do. So that was a great answer. I loved it. I loved it. Plus, it's just such a bonus that he's got the accent that he does. In fact, let's do it again.
Playoffs is a different level of competition from regular season, from any of that. So, look, people are just playing hard. You know what I mean? People play really hard. Sometimes things happen. It's not ill intention. I think you're just trying to win.
Do you view all of what he's doing as inside the bounds, so to speak?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's what the refs are there for, mate.
I just love when he says mate, and we can end it right there. So the rest of that fun, mate, they're just playing hard. Like the dude's he used 2 questions to try to bait Steven Adams, who, by the way, just looks like a superhero, doesn't he? Doesn't this dude look like a superhero?
Outside of that,
I mean, come on. That's what he looks like.
So it's nothing to
Got
do
the big
with
tattoo, the long hair. I mean, he could easily be in, a Marvel movie. There's no question. I know what was Boban in? Boban was in something. Oh, Boban was in the Ryan Reynolds deal, I think the 3rd one, right? He was in that one. But Steven Adams could easily do that. And he's got the accent and all that kind of stuff. And I know you don't like any of the Rockets, but come on. Yeah, he could do Aquaman. Oh, yeah, he looks like Jason Momoa a little bit. Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, he probably would. He probably would say, look, if I could kick it back in the nuts, I would. But I like that. I like that attitude. Yeah, Aquaman. He kind of looks like Aquaman. That's the one I was going for. He does. The accent is awesome. He's New Zealand. He's a New Zealander. The guy's awesome. It's like, look, we're playing hard. I love when guys say that. Too many times nowadays, it's like, yeah, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it's the coach's job to send that message. Pregame, both coaches will send the physicality message. Both will get asked the question, and both will say, whatever it is to try to get an advantageous response from the officials. But Steven Adams is like, look, dude, I'm the biggest guy out there. I want it to be physical. You think that Draymond Green's going to bother me? When he kicked me in the nuts one time, that was probably not, ideal for Steven Adams, but what do you think he wants to do? Oh, that's a good call right there. Absolutely. Put him in a John Wick. I'd like to see him, I'd like to see a John Wick Steven Adams fight. Let's go. Yeah, that's exactly right. Bring the John Wick. There's 3 John Wicks. What are they doing? A 4th John Wick? Whatever they're up to. I don't know what they're up to. Why is it that every time John Wick is on, I do have to stop? Like it's one of those things, like it's a Sunday afternoon, you're flipping channels. John Wick 1, 2, and 3. They always play those on whatever channel it's on. It could be on TNT or whatever the channel's on. They have to play them back to back to back. You never notice that? They never have like one of them. They never have like John Wick 2 and then there's not John Wick 3 behind it. Like in a row, like as you're flipping things, it's like, oh, there's John Wick. Oh, they're playing all 3 right in a row. That's what they do. Yeah, Keanu Reeves and Steven Adams in the first one. Yeah, anyway. Is it John Wick 5? I lose track. Is John Wick 5 coming? Do they have a John Wick 4? I thought it was at 4. I guess it's at 5. I could be wrong. But anyway, I like Steven Adams. I don't care if he plays for the Rockets. You can like other guys on other teams, right? I mean, that was cool. That's a great response. Like, why am I going to worry about it being physical? I'm the biggest dude out there. What do you think I want it to be? What's Steven Adams? 7 foot 260? Like, dude is just like, he is massive. Like, yeah, I don't want physicality. That dude. Badass. All right, one last draft look. Let's move over. By the way, any other Warriors thoughts, NBA thoughts? But let me do this. Sorry, before I move on from the NBA, let me share my screen with you. And let me just give you a little bracket update. Did you watch the Nuggets, the Creamy Nuggets, and the Clippers? I thought the Clippers were going in that series, and they still could. But I'm telling you right now, when Jamal Murray does what he did, he scored 43 or something last night, and I know there's a playoff Jimmy. I know that's a thing. There's also a playoff Jamal, as in there's the bracket right there. Jeez, I got so many windows open. There's the bracket, what it looks like. So obviously the Thunder's moving on. Nuggets lead that series 3-2. That's going 7. They're going to go back to LA. James Harden wasn't very good last night. Jamal Murray was absolutely great. So the Nuggets lead that series 3-2. Thunder going to have a tough time with either of those teams. I know the Thunder are great, and everybody's telling me, hey, this, that, and the other. That's fine. They're a young basketball team, and I think the Nuggets or the Clippers will give them a lot of trouble, especially the Nuggets, especially if Jamal Murray's a 40-plus point machine. Tonight, as we see in the bottom of the bracket, as we've been talking about, the Warriors and the Rockets go at it. Warriors can win that thing, get themselves some rest. The Timberwolves and the Lakers and the Timberwolves can close that thing out. Cavaliers, Pacers on one side of it. The Pistons have actually outplayed the Knicks, even though they're down 3-2. They're a young team. Cade Cunningham is really, really good. If the Pistons get another piece or two, they need another solid piece. I don't know if they need superstar pieces, but a couple of solid pieces for the Pistons. They might be a pain in the ass over in the East, but they've actually outplayed the Knicks. They won in New York last night to keep their season alive. and then the Celtics knock out the Magic. The Celtics are going to be tough. Celtics Cavaliers in the East final. Whoo, that's going to be really good. Celtics and Cavs in the East. The West is a little bit more jumbled. Celtics Cavs, there's no doubt that's going to be the East final. But, I could see the Thunder in the West final. I could obviously see the Nuggets or the Clippers. I could see the Timberwolves there. I could see the Warriors there. I mean, it's the West to me is wide open. I know what kind of record the Thunder have and had. I know that they should be respected, but they're a really deep team, and I like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. There's got to be a Robin that steps up big time for them in the playoffs, and I'm not sure who that's going to be, and they're really young. So, look, I don't have a ton of faith in the Thunder. I don't think they're going to come out of the West because I think the Nuggets, the Clippers, the Timberwolves, the Warriors could all give them a really rough time, but maybe they do come out of the West. But there's the brackets as they sit right now in the Western Conference. And then this real quick, because this is when the Nuggets could be really difficult. There's playoff Jimmy, there's playoff Jamal. 43 points, 5 boards, 7 assists, 8 3-pointers last night in the win over the Clippers at 5,280 feet, as they remind you on the jerseys last night. If he plays like that and you have Jokic and all that kind of stuff, that's how they won a championship. Murray was just that good. And he just, during the season, I'm not going to say he muddles along. He's solid. He's good. Always seems to be banged up. And then in the playoffs, this happens. And he's just railing threes. And that's what happened last night. It was a great game last night, but he just took over. I mean, that's just what happened last night. He just took over. And Denver's going to be a problem if that's the guy that you get on a consistent basis. So that's what's going on as far as the NBA playoffs are concerned. As I said, let me just get back to the comments. Make sure I don't miss anything as far as NBA talk is concerned, because I'm going to move over to Brock, the NFL, and a final look at the at the Niners draft as we're jumping all around here. Ooh, that's a good one. Boban or Adams. I don't know. Adams just like more of a badass. Don't you think, Jazz fan? I mean, I don't know. Just off the top of my head, Boban is massive. I mean, if he lands one on you, you're probably going down. But Steven Adams is, I don't know, he's just like a superhero right there. So I'm just going to say him, and somebody's got to put him in a movie. What are you kidding me? I'm not saying he's the lead or anything like that. I don't know if he can act whatsoever, but my God, man, just looks like it. John Wick 5. Okay, I'll take your word on it. All right, let's move over to one last draft look. And even though it says Bork, that's supposed to say Brock. My tech people are really falling off. That's me. Let's see here. All right, here's how I'm looking at the Niners draft. All right, it's really 2 drafts. Because what you do is you put a few drafts together, and that's how you decide if your team's going to be any good. Now, in 22, they got Brock. In 23, they had a disastrous draft, so I'm not even looking at those. But what you've got to do is you look at the best teams in the league, and they put like 2 or 3 drafts together. That's what starts happening. Is like all of a sudden, these guys are hitting 2, 3, 4 drafts together, and you're like, okay, now we're cooking with gas. Suffice to say that outside of Brock in 22 and 23, not having those first-round picks because of trading Trey, major problem. So look at 24 real quick. Ricky Pearsall, we're hoping, had just a really weird year. We know that. Renardo Green, I think he's being massively overlooked. All these guys trying to put mocks together were like corner. And it was like, Renardo Green had a good year last year, especially for a rookie. He's got to take another step up. But they took him in the second round. And when you're the 49ers and you're saying, look, it's all about the draft and you're letting players go and all those kind of things, that means that the guys that you drafted, they have to play. And Renardo Green showed enough promise. So Green's going to start. Pooney's going to start. Malik Mustafa, that knee's a killer. I don't know where he is in that rehab space, but when he comes back, he's a starter. So I'm going to call him a positive, even though I know we're dealing with a knee. Garendo, I don't know if he's going to be ready to be the guy behind Christian McCaffrey, which is an important position. I like Jordan James, the guy that they drafted out of Oregon. I think he's going to be the 2. Garendo's going to be the 3. Cowing, I'm just not a huge fan. I don't think he fits what the 49ers do. I'm not sure why they drafted him. They drafted him for speed, but he's far too small to me, and he didn't impress me on kick and punt returns, which is what his calling card was supposed to be. And then they drafted another guy, the 49ers this year, that's supposed to be a return guy. Kingston, whatever, Bethune, whatever. So the first, Pearsall, Green, Pooney, Mustafa, Garendo, I think are going to be anywhere from really good to starter or to contributor. Cowing, Kingston, Bethune. Cowing, I'm just not holding out a lot of hope for. All right, let's go to this year's draft, and this is how you put it together. Mikael Williams, as we said, high upside. Alfred Collins, I told you this yesterday. I got really nervous because I went to NFL.com to look back at his at his attributes, positive, negatives, everything like that. Lance Zierlein, who's a guy out of Houston, does a really good job with the draft. He did the analysis, positive, negatives on Alfred Collins, who's 6'6", 332 out of Texas, and his comp was Javon Kinlaw. Nick Barton coming off a major injury, but still, or not a major injury, but coming off injury a lot of last year, but super fast. I'm okay with that. Upton Stout scares me because he's just not very big. I mean, you're putting him in the slot at about 5'8", 185, 190 pounds, and people are putting out videos, Upton Stout's getting ready. Well, when Seattle puts Cooper Kupp in the slot, who's what, 6'3", and Arizona does the same thing, and teams are just going to go, okay, if you're going to put a 5'8", 5'9" guy in the slot, and he might be feisty and he might be tough, and he might be, K'Wan Williams, which is what you hope for, that kind of a guy, not very big, but really tough. He can come off the corner and blitz off the slot. He can stop the run, all those kind of things. He's a tough guy. But they're going to put size in the slot against the 49ers, and it means Demo's an outside corner, even though he's a great inside corner. So by drafting that guy, he's a one-trick pony. He's an inside corner. He's a slot corner. You're not going to put him out at his size. It's just not going to work. So you're forced to put Demo on the outside basically full time, which is fine if that works. But this kid's a third-round pick, and this is what I'm looking at. Mikael Williams got to be a starter and great from day one. Alfred Collins has got to stop the run from day one. Nick Martin, to me, if again you're taking a guy that high, 75th overall, he's got to be standing next to Fred Warner. He's got to be a starter day one. Upton Stout in the slot day one. CJ West, I'm not saying he's Alfred Collins. He's 6'2". He's listed about 6'2", 317. I'd love to have him next to Alfred Collins, and they have a couple of big guys inside that can hopefully stop the run, eat up some double teams, and allow the linebackers to get to the football. So I'm thinking he's going to be a starter. Jordan Watkins, more of a slot guy, lots of speed at 4.37 as the 49ers go for speed again and try to figure it out. The Danny Grays of the world have not worked out. So color me skeptical just because with this regime, when they've tried that mid-round speed receiver, it hasn't worked out. They've tried it a couple of times. Jordan James I'm high on. I love that pick at 147. Marquez Single, I don't know enough about him. I didn't see him a lot at Kansas State. I've looked at some tape on him. Because Mustafa is out, I'm sure that necessitated that pick to think that maybe you get some depth at that position. Rourke, and you start thinking quarterback 7th round, he's going to be another Brock. He was okay at Indiana. Didn't love him, but that's okay. I don't mind where he's picked up. And then the last couple of guys, again, you're talking 7th rounders, even though they've had some success there. Bergen is a guy who is a return guy. So you just took Cowing and his main reason why he's on the roster to me, because he's just not big enough to be a 49ers type receiver, blocking and the physicality and the type of things they ask the receivers to do. So he's kind of a mismatch. And so he's a special teams guy in the 7th round, though, this year at 252. And again, that's a flyer. That's another return guy. So the reason I wanted to bring up the 2 drafts and not just the 1 draft is because these are the young players that are going to have to fill positions this year. They have no choice. They let a bunch of guys go. So it's not just saying, okay, rookies are going to play, but let's look at that group of guys. Williams got to start. Collins got to start. Martin's got to start. Stout's got to start. West has got to start. I think that. And then contributions, James, I think, is a second back. Watkins, as I said, the other guy's a bunch of flyers. Pearsall has got to be really good this year. Bernardo Green has got to be a starting good corner. Dominic Purdy, we don't even talk about. Mustafa probably won't be back till midseason. Guerrero, I think, is a third back still this year. Could be wrong. Cowing's got to step it up and be a great return guy because I don't think he's going to be a player that's going to be on the field on the regular. Now, could he do some of the things Debo did? He's built completely different from Debo, but what I mean is with his speed, can he do some jet sweeps? Can they get him the ball in space, some bubble screens, smoke screens, things like that, and he runs afterwards? Yeah, he's not going to break the tackles that Debo did, but that's if I'm the 49ers, I don't think Cowing's going to win on the regular. So can I develop ways to get him the football and use his speed? Possibly. So there's that. So, but what I'm pointing out here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There's 13 guys between those 2 drafts that at the very least I'm expecting contributions. And in Williams, Collins, Martin, Stout, West, Pearsall, Green, Pooney, I'm expecting those guys to start and play a lot of snaps. So that's like 10 guys that I'm expecting to start and play a lot of snaps. And if they don't, I'm not sure what's going to happen with the 49ers. That's how important the last 2 drafts are. And like I said, it'd be great if other, they got a veteran to beat them out. They don't. They don't have a veteran to beat them out. They've decided that, we're going to let these guys go and we're going to do some pruning on the tree. And we don't, our finances, we're going to reset them for a year. Doesn't mean we don't want to win. But what it does mean is, especially like, let's use Alfred Collins and CJ West. Kevin Givens can play 20 snaps a game. It's been proven. If you play him more than that, he's about 285 pounds, a small guy. He's going to get worn down. That's just how it is. Jordan Elliott wasn't very good last year. He wasn't as advertised. Came over from Cleveland, supposed to be a run stuffer, was in that Cleveland defense. Him and Dalvin Tomlinson, remember that game 2 years ago? It was miserable for Brock Purdy against Cleveland. Debo gets hurt early. Those two guys inside dominated the 49ers. That's why they picked up Jordan Elliott. So maybe Elliott starts over one of those guys, but I can tell you the two guys they drafted, Alfred Collins as a second-round pick has got to start and be effective. And CJ West, who I really like, has got to be a major part of the rotation inside. They've left themselves really no margin for error there. There's not going to be a bunch of veterans coming in. I told you yesterday, there might be a few. And so they do pick up G.J. Humphries in the offseason. It doesn't make me excited. That's his agency, obviously, back healthy and ready to work. So I looked him up, and I don't know if this is worth our time or not to talk about a backup defensive lineman, so people could be leaving in droves here. But let me share my screen with you because this is how dorky I am. I looked him up yesterday. He hasn't been good since 2020. He had a major injury last year, but I was at PFF yesterday. Here it is right here. So he played with Kansas City. Who knew? And to just kind of give you that kind of a thing, he was hurt. Kansas City had all sorts of problems at tackle, so they bring him up. So they bring him up or move him up last year, 44.8 and 30.5 in run and pass. Now, he didn't play a whole lot of snaps. But if you go back, and this is from 2020, as you can see in that corner, so an overall grade of 88.3 in 2020, 80 blocking grade, 91. I mean, that's elite stuff. Played 1,129 snaps. First in snaps played, sixth pass block. Positional, he was number one at left tackle. I mean, the incredible numbers, right? Since then, he's been atrocious. Now, he's been hurt a lot, but I mean, let's go back to the last time he was healthy, all right? Let's go to 2022, all right? It was the last time he was healthy. So 575 snaps, not a lot, but still a decent amount. So an overall grade in 2022 is 72.3, good pass blocking, terrible run blocking grade. 80th out of 140. 18th, though, in pass block. 34th, which isn't horrible as it sounds. So in 2022, he was fairly effective. 2023, I forgot how many he played. Let me see, 2023. Let me go here. So he played. So in 2023, he played a lot. 922 snaps, a lot of snaps. Overall grade 62.5. Pass blocking bad, run blocking worse. So that was the last time he was truly healthy, 2023. And then last year he was hurt with Kansas City. So DJ Humphries has not been a really good offensive tackle in this league since 2020. He's a former first-round pick. He's 31 years old, as you can see in that graphic. He might. I don't know that he makes the football team. So everybody, all the guys who do 49ers stuff threw that out. There's like, oh, DJ Humphries, former first-round pick. He's not starting for McKivitz. He's not going to start at right tackle and move McKivitz into left guard. He's just not that good. And, they're going to take a flyer on him. And I told you, they're going to have to pick up some veterans along the way here because you're not going to go all rookies in this whole thing. But DJ Humphries, to me, if he makes the team, then that's an indictment on your offensive line and not a good one, I guess is what I'm saying. So there's DJ Humphries. And let me hit you with this. So this is yesterday. And like I said, I'm kind of down on insiders in the NFL lately just because, like I said, I knew what was going on with the Kittle thing. And then, this person comes out 5-6 days ago and so he's not here and he's holding out and he wants $20 million. This might be an issue. And it's like, it's not an issue. People knew he was dotting I's and crossing T's, but you're the insider. So I'm laughing at this Brock stuff because I keep telling you this, nothing's coming out. And so what they're doing is because, and I told you this at the beginning of the offseason, this was going to happen, that because Brock is the highest profile player in the league this year, that they're just going to just talk about it. And even if there isn't any news, they're going to talk about it and make stuff up, or not make stuff up. That's not true. They're going to regurgitate the things that they've already said. So this is the Insiders Show on NFL Network. Tom Pelissaro is there, but this is Mike Garafolo, and he's asked about the latest with Brock Purdy.
Average per year, Tom.
All right, so there's nothing there. That was yesterday. They discussed it. Some people wrote about it off of those quotes, and so I wanted to get you the quote. There's no debate whether it's going to be a 5. There hasn't been a debate whether it's going to be a 5. Jordan Love got an average of 55. Trevor Lawrence got an average of 55. Even a guy like Jared Goff got 52. Jalen Hurts got around 52. Tua Tagovailoa got 52 on average. Now, he's right, and I've told you this. It's how much is guaranteed. It's when he gets the money. It's all these different things that are being worked out. There's a lot of things to be worked out in this whole thing. But in terms of the average annual value, and please let me explain this again, it's dummy money. It's about what's guaranteed. I tell you this all the time. You look at these contracts. It's where when the number, all you got to do is go to Spot Track or Over the Cap or any of these kind of things, and you can see all the numbers. And when it explodes into a crazy level, then the deal is going to get either chopped off or redone. Fred Warner goes from $12 million in a cap hit last year to $29 million, then $26 million. The deal's going to get redone. It has to. He's not going to play at that number. Same thing, Brandon Ayuk, fourth year of the deal goes up to $40+ million. Those are all dummy numbers to get Brandon Ayuk to $30 million a year so everyone can celebrate, but that's not true. So in the NFL, whether the numbers are accurate, whatever the case may be, what they're haggling over is not between a 4 and a 5 number at the beginning. So a 5 and a 6. I told you this. Brock's camp wants 5 because that's the number. 5 is the years, and he wants it to be $300 million. They want it to be $300 million so they can say he's a $60 million quarterback. And if I'm Brock Purdy, and it's hard, if I'm the Niners, it's hard to convince his side that he's not worth 60. Not 50 is not even, to me, it's so funny that people are bringing up 50. It's not 50. Like if Brock just wanted 50, the deal would be done. 5 and 250. He gets X amount. And I've already written about this at johnlundunleashed.com. Like it's not a 5 because the percentage goes up every single year. The cap just went up big time, almost 25% over the last 2 years. It went up again this year. That means what? You're going to get a raise. What happens every single year? Going to get a raise. From 2016, I told you this, Andrew Luck, to what Dak Prescott is making now. So over a 10-year period, Luck was making $24.5 million in 2016. That was at the top of the quarterback chart. And now it's Dak at over 60. So that's 14% every single year over 10 years that the quarterback position went up at the highest number. So Brock his guys are looking at that going, look, he's a top 10 quarterback for sure. At certain weekends, he's a top 5 quarterback. He's led you in 3 seasons to 2 NFC championship games and a Super Bowl. None of those guys that I mentioned. Tua hasn't done that. Jordan Love hasn't done that. Trevor Lawrence hasn't done that. The only reason this is happening, all this surprise, it's a 5, is he's 262. Cut the tag of 262 off of him. It doesn't matter. He could have been the first pick. If and I don't know if the Niners are playing this game, but Trevor Lawrence, there was no real discussion. He was the first pick. He comes out of Central Casting. He's big and he's got the long hair and he's 6'4", 225, and he's all these different Central Casting quarterback. We're gonna give him the money. Oh, Brock Purdy, guy, 6'1", he's kind of short. Coming off a weird season. This. Yeah. All these offensive guys are gone. It didn't matter that Ayuk or McCaffrey or his O-line or all these different things. Yeah, that had nothing to do with it. Look, the guy's a good quarterback. And the fact that these same guys keep saying the same things over and over again, it's just bias for pick 262. The deal's going to get done. The Niners know it's going to get done. They're dotting I's, crossing T's. It's about the details of the contract. But I can guarantee you this. The number, they've probably already agreed to the number as far, and we get so obsessed with this, but the number that comes out, which is not really the real money, and everybody ignores what's the guarantee and what's all these practical guarantees and all these different things. That's the money he's actually going to get. Baseball, every dime guaranteed. NBA, every dime guaranteed. Not in the NFL. So whatever percentage, whatever he's going to get, I mean, I've said this before and I've written about it. It's not that complicated because the top guys, and I go down, like I said, I go down to Jared Goff and Jalen Hurts and let alone, the Mahomes of the world and Allen and Burrow and all these kind of things. There are 3 elite quarterbacks in the league. We talk about it all the time. Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and Patrick Mahomes. Those are the 3. And then the line starts at that point. And you could make a case on his best day that Brock Purdy could be as high as 4 or 5. You could make the case on his worst day that he could be 12 or 14. but he's somewhere in there, and that guy gets paid. That's just how it is. It's not a 5. I don't know why there's such a debate about this. It's not a 5, and it doesn't even matter what it is. It does to the agent. I mean, I don't know that it matters as much to Brock, but it matters to the agent that it's a 6. It matters to the 49ers that it's a 5, but I think it's going to average over 55. Because if I'm his side, why would I sign for less than Trevor Lawrence? Why would I sign for less than Jordan Love? Those are the two guys that last offseason got deals. I'm not signing for less than what those guys did. What has Jordan Love or Trevor Lawrence done more statistically or team success-wise than Brock Purdy? I'll answer it. I'll ask it and answer it. No. You were the number. Jordan Love was a first-round pick. It was like 25 or something, 26. Trevor Lawrence was the first overall pick. That's great. That's the only thing they have over him. But in terms of if you throw all that out and you just look at it from a standpoint of Jordan Love is not a better quarterback and has not accomplished more than what Brock Purdy does. You may think he has more upside. You know, his arm's more whippy. He might be a better athlete, all those kind of things. That's not what makes a great quarterback. They haven't beaten the 49ers in the playoffs. Last time I checked, they beat the Packers. Great play, Dre Greenlaw at the end, whatever. Carlson misses some kicks. They won. So they've played head-to-head. Trevor Lawrence has had zero success at Jacksonville. What do they do? Beat the Chargers in the playoffs at one time when the Chargers choked. That's about it as far as their success, and they brought in everybody. I mean, yeah, okay, you can say that that Urban Meyer was a joke. I get it. But they brought in Doug Peterson, an offensive mind who had won a Super Bowl. What did Trevor Lawrence do in that? They've spent tons of money on receivers and offensive linemen in Jacksonville, time and time and time again. They do it constantly. They brought in Travis Hunter this year. I mean, they traded with the Browns to give him another offensive weapon. I mean, they're constantly giving him things, and he's still okay. And he got $55+ million. If I'm Brock's camp, I'm not taking less than Trevor Lawrence, not taking less than Jordan Love. And the reality of the situation is that this is what the market is right now. And I'm better than Dak Prescott, by the way. My numbers are better than Dak. When they were both healthy the year before, not this year, but the year before, Brock Purdy had better numbers than Dak Prescott. They were both right there and both had great numbers. Who wins head-to-head? Who's always won head-to-head? Brock Purdy. There is at no point other than pick 262 that the 49ers could make a case that the highest paid quarterback right now, Dak Prescott, is better than Brock Purdy. And oh, by the way, what's Dak, 31? So I'm younger too. You're going to get my best years. I'm not even in my prime yet. I mean, that's what I'm saying. If I'm Brock Purdy's people, Dak's past his prime. He hasn't won anything. He's 31. He's the highest paid guy. Why shouldn't I get Dak money? What would be the answer for the 49ers to say that Brock Purdy does not deserve Dak Prescott money? The highest paid guy. What's that? And then to this thing where you can't, like Puka Nacua said that, and you can't pay the court. You can't. Once they pay Brock that, really? Because Stafford's making a lot. Stafford was making a lot when they won a Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes makes a lot. Jalen Hurts makes over 50. They just won it. Show me the quarterback lately that's won it and not been highly paid and not been one of the highest paid guys. Because that's what you need to win Super Bowls. Mahomes wins them. Hurts just won them. Or Hurts won one. I mean, go back to the days of, Brady took a little bit less, but still he was getting paid a lot of money. I mean, most quarterbacks that win Super Bowls are getting paid a lot of money. So that's a bunch of shit. It was cracking me up the other day. Puka Nacua, of all people, is on some podcast once the Niners pay that guy, your guy's making a lot of money. I mean, you've got to have a great organization. That's just how it goes. You get a massive advantage. Russell Wilson was making hardly nothing. He was a third-round pick of the Seahawks. They won a Super Bowl, went back to a second. It gives you a massive advantage. The Niners had a massive advantage to sign guys and to bring in guys when Brock Purdy was your starting quarterback and he's making virtually nothing. I think it was 69th or 70th. Nice. Highest paid quarterback in the league. I mean, it's unfortunate they couldn't take advantage of it, but everybody's getting paid highly now. When John Gruden said, well, we can't pay Derek Carr and Khalil Mack, so we got to let him go. Then that was at $20 million. He goes, we can't have two $20 million guys. What are you kidding me? Only quarterbacks make 20. I mean, that wasn't that long ago. Quarterbacks make 50. And as Mike Garafolo said, they make 60. And that's just the way it goes. So with Dak making over 60, I'm Brock's side of things. Look, I don't want him to hold out, all those kind of things, but I have a job to do. And my job is he's the latest, not the greatest. He's the latest. And Dak's number starts with a 6. I know my guy's not Mahomes. I know my guy's not Lamar Jackson. I know my guy's not Josh Allen. But the bar has been set. There's a guy with a 6 in front of it. My guy's better than that guy. And if you don't want it to start with a 6, I understand that because it's for, I think, outside reasons like, oh my God, the media is he's not actually going to get that money, but I'm better than Lawrence. I'm better than Love. I'm not better than Burrow. I'm not better than Josh Allen. I get it. And they're paid in that range as well. But it's not only is it going to start with a 5, it's going to start with a 5 and another 5 at least. It's at least 55. So, and then it just comes down to the guaranteed money and everything else. But I'll go back to, and then we can move on from this. I'll go back to something I said yesterday. There's a couple of signs that things are moving in a positive direction. If they hadn't been moving in a positive direction and I knew they weren't getting on the field or anything, Brock wouldn't have showed up just over a week ago because his agent would have told him, look, man, we have to send a sign to the 49ers that we're not happy with the direction of things, so you can't show up. And I realize you're probably sitting there saying, the agent works for Brock. They do to an extent. And the agent will, and especially given the fact that Brock's dad was a professional baseball player and knows how this works, you go to to these guys and go, look, I know how to do this. I've done this a lot of times. You hired me for a reason. You need to stay away from camp because these are really negative negotiations. And then the media is going to run with this thing. It's a tactic. With things going positively, I think, and I'm not saying they're dotting I's and crossing T's, but I think they're closer than people think. Remember, last week, Diana Rossini was making everyone freak out because of George Kittle, and Kittle tried to set her straight. And she still said that they were far apart in negotiations, and now he has a deal done. So we don't know. And part of the speculation by these guys, because Garofalo didn't really come to the table with anything new in that clip, is that nobody's letting anything out. Brock's side isn't letting anything out. The Niners side isn't letting anything out. So I don't think that there's anything to be worried about. Now, as I said, end of May, when they're actually getting on the field, I'd like Brock Purdy to be there. But if he's not there then, I'd like it to be done at the very, 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 very latest before camp. And I said this yesterday. The fact that George Kittle gets his deal done in late April versus when it's been done in the past with a lot of these re-signings, whether it was Debo or Kittle or Bosa or any of these, they've ranged anywhere from late July, right before camp, to, in Bosa's case, September 6th, and in Ayuk's case, far too late as well. So I think they may have learned a lesson, and they should have. I told you, life isn't about not making mistakes. Life is about learning from mistakes. And the 49ers have a philosophy of, we'll wait till the last minute and these kind of things. I think that last year and the way that last season went with Ayuk holding in and Williams holding out, I think that they probably are looking at things going, let's change our philosophy a little bit on this. I'm not saying they're going to take a bad deal, but I also am saying that I think they're going to have a little bit more urgency when they do these kind of things, especially with their quarterback. So I'm not panicking. There is no new news. I'm not panicking. I guess the only reason I bring this up is I can't believe that there's still a debate of whether there's going to be a 5 in front of his, and why people are scratching their head like why they can't figure it out. Kid's a good quarterback, really good. Is he top 5? Can be on certain days. He's not top 3. Is he top 5? Yeah. I don't think he's any worse than top 10, and those guys get paid with a 5. And like I said, if I'm his side, I'm saying, why isn't it a 6? I'm waiting. Well, it's because of this, this, and this. Is he better than Dak Prescott? Yeah. Okay. I mean, I get it. Those other guys start with a 5, but he's the latest. The cap just went up. I mean, it's all about the economics. Again, not the greatest, but the latest. It's all about the latest economics. The cap's gone up 25% in the last 2 years, and quarterbacks in the last 10 years, on average, the highest paid quarterback, that number goes up at about 14% a year. So tell me why he doesn't deserve a 6 in front of it, let alone a 5. I don't know that he's going to get the 6, but he's going to get a 5, and it's going to be at least a 55, if not more. So there's that. And give me your thoughts. That is always a compelling conversation. Everybody's always into this thing. I would really like it if he would just sign, because I don't really love talking about it all the time. But I'm just telling you, I just think it's funny that there's even a debate that is going to start with a 5. There's not. His side is not signing anything that doesn't have at least a 55, I don't think. As far as the Giants are concerned, speaking of concerning, this has just always been Logan Webb, but after another struggle in the first inning yesterday, this is Logan Webb by inning. So as you can see there, 7 innings. This is the first inning, a 6.43, a 300 batting average, and a whip of 186 in the first inning. 5 earned runs over those 7 innings pitched. So if Logan Webb can just get through the first couple innings, then he's money after that. As you can see, 3rd inning, 4th inning, then he just gets better. is he's no ERA in the 5th inning, no ERA in the 6th inning, no ERA in the 7th inning. And so he's pitched really well as the game goes on, he gets going, but he puts himself behind the 8 ball as he did last night against the Padres last night. So he's got a 6.43 ERA at the beginning of games. Lincecum is like that. There's a number of pitchers like that. It just takes a minute to get them warmed up. So that's what happened to Logan Webb, and they lose to the Padres yesterday. Only a 2-game set there, and then they get the lucky draw against the Rockies, who are just atrocious. So there's Logan Webb yesterday. This was kind of funny and became a big talking point yesterday during the broadcast. This is Tyler Fitzgerald about the torpedo bat. I don't want people to think the bat is affecting my performance. I almost didn't use it because it just felt like there was a little pressure. I was the first one to get it on the Giants. And people were going to make up their minds based on what he did. So I was trying to be low-key about it. Yeah, I'm going to keep using it. It's funny. Patrick Bailey used it for 1 at bat. I mean, I think the concept of it is really, really interesting because what these guys did, and you probably know this by now, and it got blown out of proportion because the Yankees used him against the Brewers in that first series of the year, and they're just bombing the ball out of the ballpark. But the concept behind the torpedo bat, if you aren't aware, is that they move the sweet spot down. I mean, it's, as the guys were saying during the broadcast yesterday, it's just mere inches and maybe a half inch, a third of an inch, whatever. And they do the analytics and they see where you personally hit, where the sweet spot is for you most times. And then they move a sweet spot down to that point, and that's what makes it look kind of like a bowling pin. And so the Yankees are using it. They made a big deal. It's kind of quelled and quieted down a little bit. But then Tyler Fitzgerald got 2 of them. And they said that each bat is a couple $100. It's a little bit more than the average bat. I think they can handle it. But anyway, there was only 2 in the clubhouse, and everybody was kind of freaking out looking at that thing. Then Fitzgerald's using it on the regular. Bailey used it for 1 at bat. There was no magic wand-do in his, so then he switched back to his other one. So anyway, they're making a big deal in the Giants about torpedo bats. So I am interested to see what's going on as far as Fitzgerald. So I'll be watching him. I showed you this yesterday, that one of the disappointments of the year, and they were doing all-stars, ones to watch, and disappointments. And Adames had been a disappointment. Now, yesterday, he hits an Oppo Taco and hits his second home run of the year, but then on a routine play to short, bad throw to Lamont Wade Jr., which, by the way, Lamont Wade Jr. should have had it. You're a professional first baseman. It wasn't like it was a short hop. It was actually the big hop. And he should have had it at first base. I think that most major league first basemen would have made that play, but he didn't. But it comes down to, we talked about this yesterday, Willie Adames has been terrible defensively, and he's got to get it together. And they got to sit down with him and just be like, look, man, whatever it is, if it's because you're off to a slow start, if you're feeling pressure, whatever the case may be, I mean, you're on the road now. I hope it doesn't get to the point at home where it's Jorge Soler, where I think the ballpark started to affect him mentally. So I hope that's not it. And then as I'm watching Xander Bogaerts, who hit his first home run of the season last year, and off of Randy Rodriguez, for Rodriguez to give up his first, not only home run, but his first earned runs of the year. And I'm not down on Randy Rodriguez. I'm not saying that. But Xander Bogaerts got double-digit years from the Padres. And I'm watching Xander Bogaerts going, I hope that's not Willie Adames. Now, I think Adames is a better player. But the Padres, who are not a major market team, at some point, that contract is really going to hurt them. Right now, they seem to be riding high. They're spending money. They seem fine. They've got Tatis and Machado and all those kind of guys. But at some point, I think the Padres, if they struggle, they're going to hit the wall and they're going to start moving guys. But that Bogaerts contract is going to be really hard to move. And so it's not guaranteed, just because last year Adames hit 32 home runs, knocked in 112, was solid, not spectacular, but solid at short. Maybe he's pressing a little bit, whatever the case may be. I mean, that was just, he let the ball go sidearmed. Hits the dirt, and Lamont Wade Jr. can't dig it out. Should have, but didn't. And so we just talked about it yesterday. He makes that throw, and I'm just like, dude, like I didn't think that was feeling pressure from struggling at the plate. He had already hit the Oppo Taco at that point. So it's a little frustrating watching Willie Adames. I'm still not down on him. It's just that I'm watching Bogaerts yesterday, and like I said, he did hit that home run, but he struggled since he's been a Padre for the most part. And I'm like, ugh, because you just can't afford that. Even if you're a major market team, you spend that kind of money, you better hope that Willie Adames comes out of this thing. I think he will, but it makes you a little nervous. And I was watching Bogaerts yesterday. I'm like, I hope he's not that good. That would not be good. Did you see this last night? Dalton Varsho, the former Arizona Diamondback in center. I don't know how he made this catch, and they didn't replay it in slow-mo, so you got to catch this the first time. So Dalton Varsho is in center for the Blue Jays yesterday, and he falls down, and Jalen Duran, I think, is the one. Not Jalen Duran. Duran of the Red Sox, Duran hits this ball to center field, and he falls down. And so you're thinking, oh, this is going to be a triple. This might be an inside the park home run. But he actually finds the ball again, which is miraculous. Check this out from Dalton Varsho of the Blue Jays.
To normally have. Here's a drive to deep center.
Let me start this over.
Seems to normally have. Here's a drive to deep center. Varsho back. And did he?
Right, I got to show this because they don't do a replay.
To deep center. Varsho back.
Are you kidding?
Seems to normally have. Here's a drive to deep center. Varsho back. Did he catch that ball? Yes. He caught that ball. I mean, Dalton, we know you want a gold glove, and we know you're good, but quit showing off.
Do this game.
Varsho back. And did he catch
I mean, dude falls down, loses the ball, turns like halfway. There's some luck involved here, but that's a hell of a catch.
Dalton, we know you want to.
We'll play it one more time. Last time.
Seems to normally have. Here's a drive to deep center. Varsho back.
You're kidding.
And did he catch that ball? Yes. He caught that ball.
And he acts like it's kind of nothing. And Duran's like, oh, gotta be kidding me. But he does. He falls down in center. You're thinking that ball's going to be a triple at the very least. And he kind of backhands and, lucky where the ball was. But, man. Like 99 out of 100 times, that ball is not caught. That's going to be tough to beat. Now, look, he fell down. I get it. So he created that, but my God, man, that's a hell of a catch by Varsho in center yesterday for the Blue Jays. What else we have? That's great catch, random stuff. More from Belichick. This is going to end poorly. I have a feeling this is going to end poorly and shortly. Jordan Hudson, his girlfriend, helped kill UNC North Carolina's Hard Knocks project over personal involvement after Bill Belichick pushed for it. So apparently Belichick wanted Hard Knocks, which I get it. If you're, at the NFL level, it's a pain in the ass and you don't want the distraction. At the college level, why Belichick probably wanted this is that, you're going to see as a parent, like the professionalism and the way I run things, and kids are, and it's at the end of the day, it's exposure. Kids are going to watch it. It's going to help the program. It's different in college. You want as much exposure as you possibly can get because you're recruiting kids. And they'll probably think it's cool. Like, oh, behind the scenes, look at Belichick, and he's great, and this and this and this. And bottom line is kids are going to watch it. Maybe they're going to want to go there. I would think they would. But then she kills it. Look, I don't know how she killed it, but we're talking about that interview in which she wouldn't talk about how they met, which now there's rumors coming out that she was an escort. I don't know if that's true, but there's rumors of that. She helped kill this Hard Knocks thing. This is one of the most confusing situations I can remember recently as far as sports is concerned. Now, this isn't really sports. It's more of the social side of things. But again, I want to reiterate this. This is Bill Belichick, leader of men. This is Bill Belichick, supposedly one of the greatest head coaches of all time. And now he's allowing her to basically push him around. It's almost like, when someone gets too old and then the younger person kind of takes over, and it's like sometimes you have to do that with your parents, right? Like, all right, you parented me and you taught me all these lessons, but you've gotten to this point where you're too old, and so I have to take over. I have to do these things for you. I might have to feed you or bathe you or whatever the case may be. Mentally, you're kind of losing a little bit, so I'm going to help you out. And the finances, I take over your finances, and I do all these things. It's almost like that's what she's doing. Like she's the big puppeteer, and she's like, no, we will not do Hard Knocks. You will not know how we met. You will not this is Bill Belichick. And I don't think he's going senile, right? I mean, but she's like controlling everything. And this guy was like, this is the guy that controlled everything with the Patriots. I will control personnel. I'll control, everything. Jimmy Garoppolo's he's out. And it's just like the guy controlled everything with the Patriots. There was no like, hey, Bill, maybe this. Hey, maybe shit it. The guy in the media it's shutting everybody down and all this kind of stuff, mean and grouchy and grumpy, but he wins and all that kind of stuff. But he's in control. There was no question in New England. Who's in control of the Patriots? Bill Belichick. It's not Brady. It's not Bob Kraft. It's Belichick's in control. For 20 years, this dude was like unflappable, in control, 100%. And now this 24-year-old girl is like, we won't do Hard Knocks. Nope. In the interview, I guess she stormed out of the interview. I guess it was delayed like 30 minutes because she was being such a pain in the ass. The interviewer, I thought, did such a nice job. So they had, I guess, a second portion of that interview that had been scheduled, but it was so frazzled in the whole thing that CBS canceled it. Like, we got enough footage, fine. Yeah, this girl's being a giant pain in the ass. Screw this. Like, she's controlling everything with Bill Belichick. Like, I get it, man. I understand what's going on here. We're not stupid. She's 24 years old, and she's probably got a vagina made of gold, and Bill Belichick's like, oh, he's under like a trance. I understand it. I get it. You know, it happens. But my God, man, like, this whole thing is just wild. Like, just wild. Like, she's just, Bill Belichick, can I answer this question? You know, he gets asked a question. What do you think? She's popping in. No, we will not do Hard Knocks. Like, what? This is Bill Belichick. This thing ain't going to end well. And I think it's going to end shortly. Like, you know, after a while, it's like, hey, Bill. I mean, he's got to have friends talking to him, right? Like, Bill, what is going on, bro? Like, you can't do this. Like, this is, I said yesterday, I didn't think it was going to ruin any kind of legacy that he had, that he's so good. You know, you look at the end of certain careers, you're like, people kind of forget about that. I don't know. This might be part of the story. Like, if someone's writing a book on Belichick, this is the final chapter. Like, you can tell why NFL teams didn't want anything to do with him, because this girl's around. What was she sitting in the interviews with Belichick, like in Atlanta, when they were talking about him getting hired by Arthur Blank in Atlanta? Was she in the interview? It wouldn't surprise me. Who'd you bring here? Your granddaughter? No, this is my girlfriend. She'll be answering most of the questions today. So, Bill, what kind of defensive scheme? Like, what do you think we need to do here? And then she pops off. You know, you don't have much of a pass rush here. And by the way, this is how the contract. We're like, who are you? What are you saying? Can't Belichick speak for himself? Like, this had to be going around in NFL circles. Like, he's got this girlfriend. It's wacko. It's crazy. Like, North Carolina is probably sitting back going, this isn't the guy we hired. They didn't hire this girl. Like, did you see? You've seen pictures of this, I'm sure, on video where Belichick's out there coaching, you know, spring ball, and like she's standing in the end zone. Like, you ever seen that? Like, ever in like any level, like even high school level, like like the coach is out there and the wife is screaming and saying, "Hey, this is what you do. This is what you need." Like, can you imagine that in the NFL? Like, NFL players, like, how much respect would be lost by him? Like, the players would be like, "Why is his girlfriend out here? Why is she screaming at him in the end zone? What is going on?" Like, no wonder he's not coaching in the NFL. Like, I always thought to myself, why would a team like Atlanta, who is supposedly talking to him, like, how would they, you know, they've lost forever. Why wouldn't you want Belichick there? Because, like, this girl's like, this is what we're going to do. And she's making him do weird stuff on social media. This thing is wacky. It's weird, man. I get it, man. She's young and pretty and everything like that. And you're under some sort of a sex trance with her. Oh my God, she's awesome. Yeah, great. You're nuts. What are you doing? Like, he's going to come out of this thing. He's going to come out of this trance. They're going to break up. He's going to get someone more age appropriate. And he's going to do another interview with somebody else and go, I don't know what I was thinking. And we're all going to go, we know what you were thinking. But still, it can only be that so good, right? I mean, you got to come out of this at some point, right? Yeesh. That's a good point, Harry Johnson. That's a hell of a good point. It is undefeated. It's much like Father Time. It's true. I mean, that's just he's under a trance. He is under her trance, and that's probably why. But I'm just saying, and just to stay, and thank you, Harry Johnson, and thank you for the super. If you want something on the screen, 100% guaranteed, supers are the way to go. I would just say that it's just the whole thing is so creepy. I just let me just end the Belichick talk. I feel I'm never uncomfortable talking about things. I'm just like, this makes my skin crawl. It's so creepy. Like, first of all, that you may have, you know, you're 72 years old, or maybe 73, that you were using an escort service. You're Bill Belichick. Maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. I don't want to spread rumors, but that's why apparently, or according to rumors, that, and I shouldn't report rumors, and I'm certainly not reporting a rumor as fact, but the fact that he may have, like, what would be the big deal about how he met her? What'd you meet her? Like a daycare center or something like that? You picked up the wrong child? I mean, I don't know. You know, it's creepy. She's 24, you're 72 or 73. I don't know what you'd have in common. And now she's turned into this person that is basically controlling your life. The guy who controlled everything in New England for 20 years without really exception. Like, no, this will be my way. This is the way things are going to go. And then she walks into his life and is like, no, this is how it's going to go. We're not going to be on Hard Knocks. You are not going to talk about how we met. Like, whoa, this doesn't have much of a shelf life. It can't. It can't. Can it? I mean, people have got to be calling Belichick, right? People have got to be calling him. Like, dude, what is going on? What has happened to you? Yeesh. That thing made of gold or what? It's got to be more than that. All right. Done with Belichick. I just get so creepy. Allegedly. Thank you very much. The word is allegedly. Yeah, allegedly is the word. Thank you very much, my friend. I hear they met on an airplane. They were seated next to each other in first class. Seemed legit. Okay. If that's the case, there you go. But I guess what I would say is if they met in a legit like, why wouldn't you say that? We're both in first class. I don't know. I have no idea. But what she created, what they created by that interview, maybe people are just creeped out and they just don't want to do it. But what we normally do as a media is if you're hiding something or you're very vague about something, that's when the digging starts. And somebody's on this. Like somebody's been like, okay, hold on. We're going to dig on this because you're not telling the truth. And so, okay, we're going to find out. It'll come out. Robert Kraft had the massage room contract says, well, Bill said I got to top that. That's a weird organization. Bill Belichick, man. What a trip. Like I just, if it was some flighty guy or something like that or whatever, it didn't seem like he had his stuff together or whatever. But I mean, it's like Bill Belichick. Guy is like, militaristic almost like. And then all of a sudden he's just letting, I mean, that's a better way to put it, I guess. Yeah. I guess that, it blows my mind. Like if you told me this was going to be Bill Belichick, just that, like I said, I had heard things, and I thought it was weird. An NFL honor, she's in this tiny little dress and whatever, and it was creepy. But then this interview is just weird. She's yelling from the side, and I guess the reporter was like, "We're not doing a version of this. We're not staying here." Like, are you kidding me? It's crazy. What else? Adamas will be fine. I think so. It's way too early to draw any kind of conclusions. We're 30 games into this thing now. I think the guy will hit. I think he's a really solid player. I'm simply saying that he's got to get it going with the defense. And I'm just watching him from a standpoint, and this was a road game yesterday, and he hits the home run, that he just doesn't get psyched out by this ballpark. And I think that did happen last year with Soler. I just think that it got into his head, and I hope it doesn't get into Adames' head. Then he takes that out to the field, and he's struggling out there. I mean, they need him. They need him to hit. I mean, look, he's the number 2 hitter. That's the best hitter in your lineup now. So they need him to rake. But they also just need him. They don't need him to be, Gold Glove caliber at second. But like the play last night was just pure laziness. Like you're just sidearming it over to first base. That's just lazy. And even though Wade should have dug it out, I mean, there's no question. He should have dug it out. So there's that. What else do we got? Anything else? I don't really want to talk about Belichick anymore. It's so creepy. The whole thing is just creepy. I don't want to talk about him popping Viagra. Just creepy. Creepy stuff. I mean, it could be that. Could be that. Could be a strip club kind of a thing. I have no idea. Honestly, it's really weird. Is that true? Was there a Mile High thing? Can you imagine Belichick getting out of the bathroom and she's in there? Like, come on, man. Is that Bill Belichick up there? What is going on? Is there a truth to that? I didn't hear that part. What else do we got? I guess that's it. All right. We're done talking about Belichick. All right. Episode 129 here on a Wednesday, April 30th. Huge for the Warriors. Let me tell you this. We will be back tonight. So we'll be back tonight with the Warriors postgame show. We always have a great time with that. So make sure that you have your alerts on at John Lund Unleashed. Please put those alerts on, and we will analyze the heck out of this game tonight. We'll have a bunch of fun doing it. If the Warriors knock out the Rockets tonight, we'll be bringing out the good stuff. So come to the post-game show properly prepared, as we'll have a lot of fun tonight and talk Warriors. And if the Timberwolves take care of business, we might even be talking about the next round against Minnesota. That is John Lund Unleashed on YouTube. Please make sure that you are subscribed, have those alerts on. Please, before you leave today, hit us up with a like as well. That's also on Bay Area Sports Collective. As you see the BSC, if you go to the Bay Area Sports Collective on YouTube, and you see that logo, you're in the right place, which means Tom Tolbert. That means Polly Mack, who will be on today as well with Polly Mack's Particles, and Creative Tony and Rod Brooks as well. And we're adding more as we speak. So Bay Area Sports Collective and John Lund Unleashed on YouTube. Thanks for watching on LinkedIn today, Facebook. We were live. I got to check in on my people on Instagram. I always forget to do that because, people have questions and stuff there. So our people are there on Instagram, and maybe you watched on X today at John Lund Radio. Much, much, much appreciated. If you missed anything today, or maybe you joined the show a little bit late, no problem at all. What I'll do a little bit in just a few minutes on John Lund Unleashed, if you go underneath the show and you see the comments and all those kind of things, I put a chapter by chapter. So if you just wanted to hear about the Warriors, you can just click right on that. If you want to just hear about Brock Purdy, click on that. However you want to do it, that's the deal. And I put chapters up. My dog just ran in here. We put chapters up. So all you have to do on YouTube is any part of the show that you want to watch, then just they're there on chapters, and that'll be after the show. Just a few minutes. Also, if you want to listen to the podcast, you're running around today, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your favorite podcast, please shut the door. That would be great. We're getting light in here. Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your favorite podcast, please make sure that you listen on that. If you want to take us with you, that is absolutely great. But again, finish them. Haliburton, Giannis to the Warriors, as always talked about. I don't think this time. Odds came out from Vegas today. Only Oklahoma City, Boston, and Cleveland have better odds. One last draft look. I told you it's got to be 2024 and 2025. There's probably 10 or 12 guys that really have to step up this next season. Bork, you're asking yourself, what the hell is that? Brock next. We got into that conversation as well as the insiders on the NFL Network talked about it. Logan Webb struggling with a 6.83 first inning ERA. Is much better after that. The great catch in Toronto and random stuff, which happens all throughout the show. By the way, Steven Adams. That was a great quote from Steven Adams. Did you want to hear that again? By the way, about physicality in the playoffs?
You don't need to waste your time.
Wait.
As you know,
Go ahead.
Playoffs is a different level of competition from regular season, from any of that. So, look, people are just playing hard. People play really hard. Sometimes things happen. It's not ill intention. I think you're just trying to win.
Do you view all of what he's doing as inside the bounds, so to speak?
Well, yeah. That's what the refs are there for, mate. If it's anything outside of that, the refs will call it. So it's nothing to do with what we think. You don't need to waste your time speculating any of that. We got enough to think about in the game. The referee's job is to make sure that they stay within the boundaries.
Great answer. That's just a great answer, man. It is going to be physical tonight between the Warriors and the Rockets. That is episode 129. Come back tonight right after the game. John Lund Unleashed. It'll be exclusive to YouTube. I'll have it on John Lund Unleashed on YouTube only and the Bay Area Sports Collective. So you got to hit us up on YouTube on one of those channels. Make sure you subscribe, have those alerts on, and please give us a like before you get out of here today. Everybody have a great day. Awesome to have you in the room today, or however you're listening on Instagram, X, any of those ways, LinkedIn, Facebook, any of those ways. We'd love to have you in the room over here on YouTube. And again, if you're watching on one of those other platforms, it will be YouTube only tonight. John Lund Unleashed and the Bay Area Sports Collective for Warriors postgame. And hopefully we're celebrating a series win over the Rockets. Going to be physical, going to be tough. So we'll come back together tonight. If you can't make it tonight, I understand, 8 a.m. Pacific for the Thursday edition of the show. We'll be back tomorrow to recap it all. But if you are so inclined, join us for Warriors post-game show on John Lund Unleashed tonight. Until then, have a great...
Thanks for hanging out with John Lund Unleashed. We'll try to be better next time, though I wouldn't hold my breath. Please like and subscribe on the John Lund Unleashed Pod YouTube channel. Watch live shows weekdays at 8 a.m. on YouTube, Instagram, and X. And make sure to have your alerts on for shows throughout the day or night. All things Lund can be found at johnlundunleashed.com. johnlundunleashed.com.
Goodbye!